Hey, what's up, guys? Letting this unit run for a few minutes. Wanted to show you just a few things on these boards that I've observed. So I'm going to be on AC volts. These are 230 volt units, typically for commercial. That sure is dancing a little bit. 209, 210 volts. Pretty interesting. Almost be curious to put my little scope on there to see if this thing is like sagging the voltage. Hey, what's up? HPCR. So I was just putting my meter on the input. It's about 208, 209 volts. Let's go to DC volts now. I'll show you guys here these two test points. Carefully, they got bare copper here for putting the meter. At least I assume that's what it is. I think I told you guys about this before, but look at that voltage, 430 volts basically. Usually this rock's steady, so I don't know if I'm getting a lot of interference on my meter from hanging it the way I have it right there. But 430 volts DC. Well, 208 volts rectified full wave is not 430 volts DC. It's like right around 300. So it'd be like, why is it 430? Well, all that discussion we're talking about with the rectification, I'm running my, VFD at home off a single phase input, which is giving me a weird reading when I read it. And so this one also is single phase. You got, two wires for a 208 and a ground. So it's single phase, 208 volts, goes through the filters, goes up here, and the rectifiers and the IGBT for the inverter part for the compressor to the three-phase inverter output. It's all, on the heat sink behind you. Can't see it. But the interesting thing I saw about these, and they actually called it power factor correction on their paper, but I think they're just trying to make a very stable DC power, and it said it was a wide range. Like this unit will run on like under 200 volts, like down to like 180 or something. I forget what the book said. All the way up to like 260 or something like that. There was a wide range of input voltage for this thing. So it says 208, 230, but it has a wider range than that. So this thing has a DC to DC switching supply. I know that it's not right here. For some reason the app doesn't seem to be turning on the camera anymore, but put that back there. So it's at those transformers right there. Look at that. Those meaty bastards right there. So those, and you could see I could see underneath the big hefty solder joints, 3 of them next to each other. Either MOSFETs or the IGBT or something is underneath there, some sort of solid state device on the heatsink that is basically taking your AC input and then it's electronically charging the DC bus, and it's charging it through the transformer, so it's stepping it up to 430 volts. Yeah, it's a hotel room. Yep. So these are hotel room units. They just go in there. With all the brilliance, see the hole, and you take off this cover. So you take this cover off. Those units are supposed to be way down low, and look in the manual, it's supposed to be a base that you could buy for these and some on, and then it's way lower and you slide them out the opening. Well, the engineer wanted to make the holes where the condenser air goes in and out match the windowsill outside, I guess. So to get that level or something, I don't know, the way they wanted it to look, these units had to be engineered up on sheet steel angle iron stands to raise them up. Puts that top up. So this is, I think, one of the shorter units. Yeah, this is just a 12,000 at one time. So this one will pull out even though it's kind of high. It sucks. But the 2-ton ones they have in the corner hotel rooms, this is like way up here. Hits that. We needed to pull a couple of them because they screwed up the intake. The window company did actually, and didn't pull the unit. Like, dude, somebody's got to like demo out the freaking rock and steel framing just to get the unit out on those ones. And these ones aren't going to no picnic. So if they would have been engineered real low, like they show in the manual, then you have like maintenance guys should be able to just unplug the communicating thermostat, unplug the high voltage in there at the drain, and just pull these out. They're heavy, but you're made to be slid out. They have like a rail system, and it would slide out. Yeah, and I think on the base I saw, don't quote me on it, but it almost looked like the base might have served as a secondary drain too. So, yeah. So anyway, a lot of tech in these. This one's got an issue. It's not doing it right now, but it's not as warm. But yesterday I actually finished the day, you know, checking on this one on the left, and I forgot to get the data off the SD card. That's right, SD card right there. There's also one right here too on the power board. But on this board here, control board, is an SD card. You pull it out, I zip it up, and then I send it to the tech support guy on these because we got some glitches every once in a while where circuit boards are shutting down early. So like this one and several other rooms, I get up to like a 470 psi, 480 for 410 refrigerant. That's not that high. I mean, it easily go higher than that if you started this up on a hot day and it's hot inside the room. But no, it's shutting down, you know, before it should, and it's shutting down for like, it calls it an I square T or something like that. So I don't know if it's temperature or what, but compressor current. I think it's current, but it's shutting down somehow. And maybe there's a misprogram in the board or just a glitch in the board or something. But I think they've been just sending new boards to fix it. This company's pretty easy to work with, and they have a lot of tech on the boards. And like I said, you know, I send that card in, and that guy has a record of the data, like pressures. I think pressures maybe. Depends. I can't remember if there's a transducer on both high and suction and discharge. I don't know, but it gives them all the readings. There's a whole slew of not transducers, but thermistors plugged in there, top and bottom, like 6 or 7 of them, input and output of coils and everything. And I think the compressor temperature or the liquid line, I'm speeding. Discharge line, yeah, has a thermistor on it. I've seen it right after the compressor, stuff like that. Maybe it's that's tripping. Who knows? But what we do is send them the data. I also take my testo and send that too. So, and he likes that, I think, because you can look at it, match it up, you know, to see what my data says. And I have the, you know, discharge, suction, and then superheat, subcooling, and then I usually put like my other thermometer in there, which is really saying what the outdoor air temperature was. Couple of things they just tell us to check for is make sure, like this boot, there's a boot that just seals through the wall because they're made to pull out. So if that's loose or the gasket isn't in there, it'll suck in a bunch of outside air into the evaporator, and that puts a heavy ass load on it. Oh, there's the book up here. Yeah. So, and I have files for it in my OneDrive, and that's where I saw that said that this had they called it a power factor corrector, but and at the voltage it was like 430, and that's what it is. DC, man, it steps it up. That is a lot of tech for one. VRFs, they call these VRPs from Frederick. Frederick's been around a long time. They used to make window shakers, like in the 70s and stuff, and they were like tanks. So some people don't like these, but they have these regular ones that just have one circuit board and they're just on off, and they seem kind of There's some issues at one of the places, but some of the issues are just where they're installed, you know. Another place we have these, another hotel, they have the balcony. Some of these installed, and then the balcony's like recessed in, so it's got a cover over the top, so it's not even open and free air for the condenser air. And these trip like left and right over there, but you know that's expected. That's a bad design off the drafting board there. Yep. So these don't come apart too bad. Like just 2 screws take this panel, 2 screws for the bottom section. But if you have to get to anything behind, I have to like take this electric circuit board section. It's all big sheet metal. You take 4 screws out, and then it hooks, so you sort of hold itself up even without you unhook it. You got to be careful not to do all the wires behind it, but you can I can kind of hang it down out of the way as one piece. Pretty much it. So got my reading sent off. This unit isn't tripping, but it's a lot cooler right now than it was yesterday at the same time. Again, that's your thermostat connection, volt plus and ground, and then you got data plus, data minus. It communicates over to the thermostat, which sees you when you walk up, just like an EcoView will. Got the motion sensor. They could program them, I think. That unit just quit. I think I heard something. I don't know. But anyway, you go like this, push these 2 buttons, about 5 seconds. E. Whoop, it's got the fault. E47, and there it is. you can read the faults on that unit right here, or I could count the blinks. One LED does the first segment, blink 4 times. The other color, it blinks like the other did. But if you have these thermostats on, you just come over here and check it out. So, yep, and that's the faults, E47. So as soon as I walked away from that unit shut off on that fault. It's like maybe 100 degrees outside. The amps were fine. I checked a few minutes ago. So there's no reason for it to be doing that. So anyway, I took out my pressures yesterday. I just forgot to take the SD card out and I had to leave here. Now I'm back. I got another unit to look at. So, but I just came in here and read the SD card, and I could use can't use my iPad. It sucks. I don't have a special reader for that one, but I have this for my Surface Go. It's USB-C, HDMI, full SD card, micro SD card, and 3 USB 3.1s or whatever those are. This also works in my Samsung that I'm using to stream right now, my Samsung Note 10. I plug this in and it'll see it as an external drive, and I can when I plug in that card. So that's pretty cool. And I think the phone will mirror through will do video out. Can't remember if I tried that successfully or not, but I think it will do that too. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, I zipped it up, the file in the phone, and I could send it to that guy. It's pretty awesome tech, but this is a different day, man. It isn't just contactors and stuff anymore, and this is what everybody's going to. So I don't know what you guys think about that. That's crazy. Those motion sensors will be bypassed a month after opening. I don't think they're even in use. I think the units just run to the temperature, but I think they can be set to where the unit will drift up, set back a couple degrees until if people it hasn't sensed anybody for a while. And the Ecobees, I think, can be programmed that too, or they have a follow me. Ecobees have a follow me if you use more than one sensor. So your remote sensors on Ecobees also have infrared detectors. So if you set it in your bedroom like mine is, it knows when you walk in front of it. So if there's motion on a regular basis, it knows there's occupancy there. Pretty interesting, huh? Yeah, so the Samsung's definitely a better phone than Apple. Going back to that post I made, about the iPad just shutting off, and I think I put a comment on it earlier that this phone has like 4 stages. Like it'll start getting a little slow, and that's pretty much everything does, and then it'll like disable the camera, which is annoying. But not all apps, because I could use certain third-party apps and I could still use the camera with those. But the default Samsung app, I was like, no, let the phone cool. And then the next step is nothing that works except for like making phone calls, but the phone's still on. And then after that, it will overheat, but that's hardly ever happened. I've rarely ever had this phone go to that level. It usually just gets to the level where you can make a phone call, but you can't use apps. So I used to have an iPhone given to me at the last company, and it was just like the iPad here. As soon as you just had it on you and you're on a roof for a little bit and it's a hot day, you weren't even using it, and you pull it out, exclamation mark, F you. Got to go throw it in an ice chest or something. I screwed up a phone because I had to put it in my ice chest, and I did that several times. And one time I forgot, and I lowered my ice chest and it sloshed around and fell right into the water. So, of course, these newer Samsungs like this are fairly waterproof. You could dunk these things for several seconds and pull them out. You ain't even going to get in there. So, if you leave it in there, maybe, but you got some time. So, anyway. All right, guys. Thought you'd like to see that. Looks like almost ripe for a filter. With that, I got to get heading over to the next one. Put this door back on. Catch you later.